Ladies and gentlemen, our fellow Nakama out there, welcome to our review of Chapter 1065, The Six Faces of Punk. Thank you for joining us. If you just came over from our lovely little reaction, I am Alex.
I'm Burke.
I'm Kat.
And I am Brock.
And we are here to bring you our review of Chapter 1065. So with that, let's get into it, fellas.
Almighty Punk!
Holy crap! Dude, the frickin' connections to pain and everything is just unreal. Oda, you're not copying him by any means, but dude, come on, Six Faces of Punk, the Six Paths of Pain, God,
It's just fun.
it's great. Okay, a lot to talk about. So we met all six punks in this chapter. Woo!
However, we started with Zoro and Brook explaining why they're still on the Sunny.
And explaining why Caribou has to get the fuck off.
Well, also, it's almost like they had an agreement. So the reason he was even in the barrel in the first place, basically it was implied that like he came either to Zoro or Brook or both, and was just like, hey, drop me off at the next island away from Wano.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, ah shit, no, this is a government island. No,
Please, no. And Zoro appreciate you.
Zoro's just giving
Bye.
like a Luffy response where he's just like, hey, you helped out my captain. Appreciate you. Peace.
I feel like that is problematic, though. And here's why. Caribou is working for somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, ooh, that guy wants to know about this thing. And he's being set loose on an island in the future with lots of cool shit, as well as...
Future.
Future! Yeah, twofer. And so he's being essentially set loose in this really swanky place with these really, really top of the intelligence world individuals. And he could just suck them up, potentially. I think that is very dangerous, especially if he may be working for CP0. Because if he's like, hey, Lucci, I got them to get rid of me. Now, who do you want me to get for you? I don't know. I don't know who he works for. But I think this might lead to some shenanigans.
Pretty sure he doesn't work for Lucci, my dude.
He might not, but I also don't know who he works for. Anything's a possibility at the moment.
I don't think Lucci would sully his pride and actually work with this pirate. Just saying.
Much. If he were to work with any pirate, it would not be Caribou.
Caribou thinks he's working for someone. Lucci might just see him as a pawn that can be replaced. All I'm saying is, it might tie in, it might not. But that's incredibly dangerous, and he's on the loose now. So who knows? I bet Caribou's gonna have like a little arc in this whole thing. A little Caribou arc. Moving on. Oh, Brock.
I just love that he's actually still relevant.
Dude, like he basically saved the
just
day
really,
last fucking
It's just really
arc.
funny.
Like he keeps being helpful.
He just keeps being around.
So we go to the lab where the whole stratosphere group is following Lilith into Shaka's like specific lab. We do not get a continuation of the phone call with Dragon, so Shaka has hung that up and is coming out to greet them. Along the way, some very interesting things. Usopp is very impressed by the escalator. That's
I was
great.
gonna say Usopp,
like,
like,
it's
come
an
on, dude. I see those like any day I go to the mall.
I mean, you literally saw Frankie build a bridge out of nothing in fucking
like 5 seconds.
and it was really cool.
Where was this?
Thriller Bark.
That was Thriller Bark.
And he was like, like, this is not that much of a step ahead.
遠回りするだけゾンビに出会うのに
あと30秒待てよこの装飾が不満だ橋ができた
I think it was just a matter of them moving on their own and appearing seemingly out of nowhere.
Oh no, like tech is, it's interesting in One Piece because like there's things that's like, oh wow, they have that, and there's things like, oh, they don't have that yet. So escalators fall into, oh, they don't have that yet. The whole island runs on fire.
You could say. So it might not actually run on fire. But, yeah.
After all, you can convert its power into any kind of energy. It doesn't burn through resources, and then they're always looking for alternative fuel sources. Which means that there is a fire that's going, potentially, that powers the island, and they constantly have to burn things to keep it going. So that could be very dark. What
if they're burning like failed pacifistas?
Dude,
And because it's implied that they're
Well,
actually children.
If only there was such a thing as an eternal flame. I want to touch back on that one though too. What you just said. But the eternal flame, that's very ominous.
It
in a
is
way.
because in a sense, as long as someone has the, and this is just me going straight to like the darkest place I could. If someone has the Mara, as long as when that person dies, they give it to someone else and they keep feeding that person,
Or
they have eternal
Or
fire.
Marco, because he never dies.
Yes, but his flames don't burn.
Could
He's
someone
weird flames.
utilize the sun god Nika's fruit to be eternal flame?
It's an interesting idea. If you're the sun god, there's a sun. Though Luffy, I feel like hasn't been shown to be like super fire based. He has the one attack, right?
He's got a couple of attacks.
Yeah.
That are fire, like his Red Hawk.
Yeah.
And
Red
then-
Rock, Red Hawk. Obviously, those are just like iterations of the same thing.
But versus,
But because he believes in his imagination that he can use fire.
in the same vein, though, remember when Ace was doing that final attack against Blackbeard?
And
high
Tay.
That
Tay.
fucking Flame Emperor shit?
Yeah.
Was that not a sun-looking thing?
Yeah, of course.
So, interesting idea. Then we phase through a wall that then becomes solid again. So, that's some crazy tech right there. There's going to be some fun. What's that guy in My Hero Academia who's really powerful because he's really good at phasing, right? The guy who's always naked in the very beginning of the series?
Brock, I don't know anything about this. So.
There's a character who, like, phases, and he gets naked because
The one of the top 3 of the
Yes!
school. I can't remember his name right up. Yes, he's very powerful.
But that is some crazy technology, which I think, again, will have some very interesting potential moments.
Yeah.
That ability to phase through things. And then harden again, right behind them.
Mirios?
Yes! Mirios. I'll put up an image somewhere. So, very interesting aspect there. All this tech is just so exciting. We then hear from the country kid Edison.
The country bumpkin?
The country bumpkin
Punk.
Edison.
The country pumpkin? Pumpkin?
I also think it's an interesting thing that...
Go commit seppuku.
That's fair. You should this is something Lilith says, you should never let your own senses dupe you. Which leads me to the question of what can you trust then? If, like, your own senses are failing
Was
you.
that
sense of
Lilith or
curiosity.
was that Atlas?
I think it was Lilith here
talking
talking about. Stop dilly-dallying and walk
Atlas
through.
also said something similar with the
Yes.
the hollow.
What is real, what
sounding.
is not. The matter is settled for me,
Yeah.
right? They keep dropping that, like, realness. So it makes me kind of question the entire island and everything we're being shown.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously the end of this chapter also kind of implies.
A big theme, I think.
I got a joke to make when we get to
Okay.
the Seraphim.
So we get Lilith just fucking abandons them at that point. She's like, "Bye, just keep going ahead," and they meet Seraphim Jinbei.
Which is number 4, 98%.
You know what that machine really reminds me of? The machines that they had in the Germa Kingdom.
Yeah. I was
Yes.
gonna say
Those
the
cloning
tanks.
facilities. I don't know about the percentage. That is interesting you pointed that out because I did not notice that. But yeah, Seraphim 04. If we're assuming it's the 7 warlords, there should be 7 of them. But if we see some tanks that go beyond 7,
Or
there's
could
some
they
other
be
people.
doing just the Straw Hat crew instead of just the war? Well, I guess we
No,
have
I
already
was
seen
gonna
the
say
warlords.
But here's the thing: there's more warlords that have been warlords than
Yeah.
just the original ones. So
True.
there could be a Law, there could be a Blackbeard, there could be
There could be warlords back before we even started the series.
Very
that
true.
We weren't even aware of.
very true.
'Cause that's the thing. Anyway, I feel like after seeing what that thing can do, I feel like Vader after he woke up from surgery and he's just like, "What of Senior Pink? Is he safe?"
Unfortunately, we murdered him and gave you his devil fruit powers.
No.
It'd be funny if it was Frankie, because like he
No,
actually
absolutely.
really loved.
Yeah, that's true.
Pink
No,
at the end
that's
there.
the main reason I felt for Frankie in that moment because he's like, "Hey, I know that ability.
So here's my.
I was super
superplexing.
I was hard boiled against that power."
I was bromancing that power, damn it.
But dude, how fucking fucking intelligent to take a fisherman, to take away their only ability to swim, and then give them that fruit, and on top of that, add the fisherman karate there?
That's the thing. Is
Holy shit.
The fisherman karate to, like, use the floor that he is now turned into a liquid.
And I don't know if it becomes solid again after he throws it or what, but that seems over fucking powered.
Oh, absolutely.
That is.
Now, Brock, here's my thing. Do you think, like, that's the actual fruit? Or has Vegapunk found a way
Lineage factor
to now make paramecias into, like, fake artificial fruits, right? Because it was only Zoans. Only Zoans. And that was Caesar mostly.
Honestly, I would take the factor into account. I once again, I'm not under the impression that Senior Pink I have no reason to believe Senior Pink is dead or alive at the moment.
Schrodinger's pink.
But there's also the fact that, you know, the entire, or at least most of the Don Quixote family has been captured.
And
so
put
they
away.
have access to their bio data.
And you know how many fun devil fruit powers is in that batch?
So
Specifically sugars.
we could probably see
Please,
some.
for the love of God, no.
We could
put
put
sugar's power to powerful.
we could probably see potentially. Yeah, we might see. In that case, you might be seeing the devil fruits of the warlords, maybe in other warlords. Like Dofi might not have his own power.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Wheel's a good toy. Pop Wheel's a good toy.
But no, I don't necessarily think he was fed the devil fruit. To date, I'm still giving the impression that Vegapunk, while very focused on their science, isn't necessarily evil enough to just kill for the sake of science.
Sure.
You know, I still don't get that vibe yet, because you get the ones like, isn't that a bit evil type thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, and from what I'm getting, all 6 of them are part of the same person, since they all share the senses from what we saw.
Yeah. all the Seraphim can see through each other's eyes.
So
because they're all the same eyes.
So that leads me to believe that, you know, Senior Pink might not have been killed, and then, like, given it might be like you said, the factor, and he might have finally perfected, or at least somewhat, or at least
this could be his version of a smart.
or in a workable way, was able to infuse the data with the powers, if that makes any sense.
You know, I was gonna say, well, are pacifistas alive to be able to eat the devil fruit? But then we had the freaking elephant sword, so, you know, that doesn't work either.
And the dog gun before that.
Yeah, like...
If they're mechanical, if they are human, Vegapunk has shown either can...
I definitely think there's...
But this is what's interesting, and I think that's actually a really good point. This, more than likely, has to be a person and not an artificial construct, because we've only ever seen artificial constructs like the sword eat Zoan types, because the Zoan fruit has kind of like its own personality as it's an animal, right?
I'm more of how the
we've never seen
sword eat a fruit.
Right, but we've never seen a paramecia or a logia be fed to a weapon of any kind, right?
Yeah.
The reason Zoans work is, and it might be canon, it might be just my
This is just theorizing.
yeah.
Honestly.
But it might be because they
concrete.
have their own soul as a part of that, right?
Yeah.
An elephant can fill the soul of a soulless sword, whereas
they're
Like
living fruits, so
like
to
the
speak.
Gorosei said, each zone has like its own like.
Which also
Personality.
is kind of back to the thought that, you know, and this is just a little short side tangent, but kind of leads back to the thought that maybe Luffy's fruit found him.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right, and evaded the world government for all those years.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot to there that's very much. I think everything about this is very much interconnected with the secret of devil fruits.
But like, how fucking OP is the Seraphim to have Kizaru's laser beams, to have Senior Pink's swimming ability, to have the ability to use Fishman karate, and on top of all of that has the powers of the fucking Lunarians with the white hair and the wings
and also,
and those modes.
You saw, like, after Sanji kicked him with his attack,
mm-hmm.
and he was angry when he kicked him.
Motherfucker came right back.
Didn't do shit. He was just looking at him like this.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
Now, I don't know how hard Sanji was going, but my assumption is pretty fucking hard.
I mean, he was pissed enough
to have a fiery kick.
Because he grabbed Nami, and like, if you grab one of the girls in front of Sanji, he's gonna hit you hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and then fucking, and even Robin didn't do shit.
Yeah. So I mean,
But we don't know if Frankie did anything.
That's the thing. They seem very concerned with the radical beam. Hey, we haven't tested beams yet. Whoa.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
this fucking guy? Well, you set a Seraphim on him,
At the
sir.
same time, also, that's one of their own beams, too, that they just don't realize it.
Yeah, they're like, they have our technology. What? You know? Who is this dude?
I don't think they realized someone inadvertently had access to their same shit.
Exactly.
And so maybe it's only Vegapunk's shit can affect them as far as they know.
It's actually kind of interesting because, well, we'll get to it a little bit later. Anyway, they have this whole fight with... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I think I scrolled down a little bit more where, I think that's Lilith. Does he have the faintest idea of how much one costs?
Mm-hmm.
That's it, like...
Well, and
So
2 chapters ago, they said they were strapped for cash. That's why
Yeah.
Lilith was, like, plundering ships and shit.
Yeah.
They're not
Now I'm
giving-
curious how much one of them costs.
And what was the other thing? She also... Do you guys want to examine the fight or do you want to move on?
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Well, I'm just asking because the fight is pretty self-explanatory.
It's pretty. I mean, it shows all. It shows a good portion of his abilities.
Like Jinbei, that Seraphim Jinbei was not losing anytime soon, and it was still rearing to go. The only thing that stopped it was like the concern that a beam might do more damage than it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But like,
I want to know what the new invention is too.
It took so many attacks and just looked fresh.
Yeah.
Which honestly, if there's 2 of them, that might be a very good reason why Blackbeard was like, I'm gonna head out of here. I'm not dealing with 2 of these fucking things. But yeah. So then again, fight happens. It is stopped by Dr. Vegapunk Edison, who is Flare, which is this tiny little like crotchety robot-y thing. Do you guys think those guys are human, or are they like? There's like a Yu-Gi-Oh term here, like a gearoid or whatever. It feels like
that's Animal Crossing.
No, okay, I'll look it up. But like, there's a specific thing that I'm thinking of. It doesn't look human. It looks like a mechanized little robot dude.
Android.
Yeah, he looks like versus. Well, I have no idea what Shaka's mask, but like York, human. Right, Atlas human looking, Lilith human, and then there's the 2 mechanized ones, and then Shaka, who, the drip dude.
So one thing we got to remember is with anything that's like a cyborg or an android, yes, it is synthetic, but it's usually a blend of synthetic and organic, bioorganic. So I'm willing to bet that there are living essences to these creatures, like bioorganic materials were used to make them, so that they have the looks and maybe some, in certain cases, functions of a living creature, but there's also all that extra stuff, all the extra DNA and potentially technology that was put into it.
Gadgets. Yu-Gi-Oh! Gadgets. These little dudes. These like freaking little mechanized gear dudes.
Okay.
I'll put a picture up. But that's what they remind me of. They don't come off as human until the one has to shit. And then York does that for him, which is such a weird idea.
Also, if you noticed, it's just the head that pops out and has legs. He's kind of like Frankie in the general Frankie.
Edison's like a little tiny dude in
Yes.
a bigger body.
No, that's Pythagoras.
No, there's 2.
Oh, that is Pythagoras.
So that's Edison, he's tiny, and then Pythagoras is this big old dude, and there's Pythagoras.
No.
Pythagoras is this one.
But Pythagoras is the one whose head jumps out. I get it now.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, they look way more mechanized. But yeah, he's a tiny little dude, even smaller than Eureka, outside of his little body. But these guys also remind me...
Edison, not Eureka. He just keeps saying
He keeps saying it. Edison and Pythagoras, these dudes remind me a lot of like a more mechanized version of those robots we talked about in the NL cover story that like were sent on balloons and all that. Okay. They look really interesting.
Which, remind me, that was before the Void Century or after?
It was after the Void Century.
Okay,
it was more recent because that was the whole backstory, and they came from Baltimore, right? Same place where Vegapunk grew up.
Yes.
Right. So
maybe connection.
Might be some tie-ins. Like, dude, the moon is so interesting, dude. Okay.
And why also sun is the counterpart to the moon.
Indeed. Okay, so we've got Edison, Flare, we've got Pythagoras, Wisdom, and he seems to be really into his results. Edison seems to have all these ideas he has to write down. And then York seems to be doing all the things that they don't have time for.
Desire. She's desire.
Desire. She gets to sleep. She gets to eat. She gets to relieve herself, while these two just do the
She
work.
handles the daily necessities.
Yes.
Daily necessities, not bare necessities.
Well, the bare ones too. And let's then focus
Shaka
up.
comes in and he's like, I'm up all night to get lucky. I'm up all night to get lucky.
But that's
He does look like Daft Punk.
That's interesting that, you know, it seems like she's handling all of those, like, human needs so they can focus specifically on the work. The other thing that's interesting there is that Atlas comes out of nowhere, seemingly, in my opinion, and just says, gotta punch something to help me digest. So maybe Atlas also does some of that?
Well, so it sounds to me like each one like is literally what it says it is. It covers this part of Vegapunk's person. Like she handles his anger, his need to get the stress out.
Oh, so like if these two get frustrated, it all goes to her. That's her job.
And then
she's running.
And that's the thing. So Shaka comes in, and he is just like the very absolute straightforward person here.
He's the leader of
Just,
the Six.
Like, yeah, all the I feel like all of them feed back to him. He could either be the main body, or he's just the main
line.
He's like the right hand punk to the actual body.
And I have the feeling that since Shaka does have a determination of logic, it's probably not the main body. It probably handles like the planning and all that kind of stuff.
Every group needs a leader. He seems to have a destination. Hey,
he's probably the one that gets direct orders from Vegapunk. If that
I was
going to
say Vegapunk is Nagato off in some machine somewhere controlling all of these things.
Yes. That's so interesting. Oh my god. Okay, so he comes in with that major drip. My man looks so good. And he's like, alright, I'm Dr. Vegapunk Shaka. Your boots, those are going to be disabled now. You're all sitting there. Can't be too careful. Let me explain to you about the island. What do you think it looks like? Oh, the future. It's so great. It's so great. What if I told you it was the past? What? And then we get a major lore dump about a civilization from 900 years ago, before the Void Century.
I
Maybe
definitely.
not quite more dump, but like.
Obviously, it was the ancient kingdom that then obviously
And I just noticed like Luffy running up.
Yeah. That's why he was like, "Let's go!" And Chopper's like, "I want to ride it."
And also going back to like the fact, besides the fact that he was conversing with Dragon, the fact that Vegapunk so easily just let the Straw Hats into his island, I think shows that he has hopes or expectations of the Straw Hats that we'll hopefully find out about soon.
Stella Body or Shaka?
I'm thinking main Vegapunk.
I'm thinking that main Vegapunk, whoever or whatever that is, might not even be aware of this whole situation. I feel like these punks have almost, at this point, kind of gone rogue. Because you can't just invite a Yonko crew into a government facility.
No, well, what I'm saying is because it's the Straw Hats, there's there's something that Vegapunk's expecting from or knows about what they're doing that he needs them there for. Is what I'm saying.
I think
he's inviting them in to test them against the Seraphims, so that he can be like, oh, this is how we beat them.
That's interesting. I think there's a separation between the two organizations, but we will see. But dude, I think my favorite Vegapunk right now has to be Shaka. That look is so cool.
Shaka's just aesthetically my favorite.
Aesthetically for sure.
York is so cute.
Sure, when she's not inflated to all hell.
No, she's adorable. She's like, I eat, I sleep, I dump. I repeat. Like, it's adorable, bro.
Eating, shitting, farting, and shooting!
And this is just a us thing. It just kind of worked out. I actually am voicing my two favorite punks so far, which are Edison and Shaka. Like I enjoy
Edison's fun.
I love Edison, and I love that Oda wrote him with a freaking country accent or like southern accent. It's great. I love it. I freaking love. I love Usopp's like, oh yeah, did I forget to mention I'm Vegapunk too?
Knock that up!
Like, I loved
Looking
that
down at the comments
so
underneath,
much.
though, someone said, lies turn to reality.
Lies turn to reality.
It seemed...
Oh.
Usopp's lies tend to turn to reality.
Oh, good point.
Holy shit, he's Vegapunk!
The continuation, now we wait, Mont Blanc, Nolan,
Hey,
it'd be
Vegapunk
funny if
acid,
that- if
history.
He has shown a great profanity to invent random things.
I think he and Frankie are literally on that same level for the Straw Hats, like their intelligence.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. I like his little Edison's fucking like plug design.
Yeah,
Like you could
yeah.
plug him in somewhere and like all the things would download. Maybe that's what he does. One thing I want to talk a little bit about. What did he say?
At this point, I didn't even take help from the cat.
The little cat. Yay, I'm being included!
Yeah, there's just a fucking
Shit is just happening
where
sometimes.
they mentioned green blood somewhere. Where did
Oh,
they
Yeah,
say that?
where did they say that?
That's right below the cat. It's
Right.
Green,
Pythagoras.
right here, Alex. Green blood concentration has risen and heart rate is up to 90 beats per minute.
Up to? That's like my norm.
Yeah, I was gonna
Fuck.
say that doesn't seem like a very high. That's right before he
I mean,
jumps
it
out.
is
And he's like,
high.
I need to use the toilet.
Most people's resting heart rate's like 50. 40 or 50, I think.
Yeah.
That's so. I'm thinking the green blood almost makes them more human. And remember a long time ago in Sabity when Drake took a bite out of Kuma and he was like, well, at least you bleed, right? Maybe that's a similar thing. And the other thing he mentioned, it's not done growing yet, right? Let's see.
Yeah,
The
it's still a
Seraphim's
kid.
still just a... So these guys are going to grow up. That's what I'm
based-
taking from
based
that.
on that, yes.
Which means that we're going to have, if nothing happens to the Seraphim, they will be like the full age of all of the warlords at a certain point. Oh,
Yes,
dude.
that's what I wanted to touch on earlier. That I was.
That's... Because, yeah, eventually you would have a fighting force that is essentially the warlords with additional cool shit. That if you then put additional fruits and shit in them, that's the crazy bit. So obviously the base bodies, if they're clones, it's just Doflamingo, no fruit, right? And then you give him a fruit that you think would be good. Not only does he have the Lunarian stuff, and then the fruit stuff that you give him, as well as does he keep his Haki? Is he still a conqueror? Is a clone still a conqueror? Can you clone a conqueror? Oh my god! Like, if you can do that, these things are no fucking joke.
You know what I really kind of gets me emotional / nostalgic about this though?
Aw.
Is the fact that regardless of like how important or impactful this is to the story, these island arcs where it's like the split up and the adventuring doesn't change its feel. This feels like, oh, what happened at say Little Garden or you know, I was like that. Whereas like it still feels like we're with the Straw Hats. We're not just like suddenly sitting backseat to a grand adventure.
Yeah,
So-
we're discovering with them.
Yeah.
And whereas Little Garden, they had the oncoming threat of like the agents from Baroque Works, we have the oncoming threat of the CP0 agents that are on their way there,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is going to be all fun and games. We're going to come to love these characters, but that threat is coming for those characters we're going to know. And it's like, oh no, not Shaka! Also, my theory of Shaka just being ahead is, but that's okay. He looks great. I thought he was just going to be a helmet.
Yeah, that's true. We only ever did see.
But
just
really,
the helmet.
it's Pythagoras who's just a helmet. This little
But I was
dude.
gonna say Pythagoras seems to be the one that's into all the battle data and.
Yeah, he's
So I'm
wisdom.
wondering
No.
what
Oh, yeah,
materials
you're right,
he
Sorry,
needs.
I was thinking of Edison.
What material?
Then-
Well,
Because if you scroll down, you can see the little under where York comes in. There's a little person running. Carry all the materials Dr. Pythagoras needs. And like, I'm trying to even see what any of that is.
maybe he's a
That looks
copy
like-
machine. But you know, like maybe something has to be put in him, and then he outputs data.
And then they said also Dr. Edison is prepping for another experiment.
So I think, and I don't know all the steps right off the top of my head, but the scientific method, I wonder if each of them kind of is like, here's the ideas that Edison creates. Pythagoras like tests them again and again and again. Obviously the human function is taken out with York, who like handle all the pleasure. All of the frustrations of having to go through all of it goes to Atlas. Who am I missing at that point? Shaka and
Shaka and
Lilith. Lilith is like, evil. They're like, no, stop. We need to do real science. But she gets the fun. She gets to be evil, and that feeds the
So
experiment.
wait, what was Lilith's actual like?
Evil.
title? It was just evil?
She's literally like, that's like her thing, is evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Evil, flair, wisdom, logic,
Desire.
Was that
I don't remember what Atlas is.
Wrath.
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 There we go.
So, scientific method, make an observation, ask a question, form a hypothesis or testable explanation, make a prediction based on the hypothesis, test it, and iterate, use the results to make a new hypothesis or prediction.
I feel like that's basically
I mean, there are
Shaka,
6.
Pythagoras, Edison, and then Lilith. Maybe Lilith's in there. But then I feel like they're the more like testy ones. Pythagoras, Edison. I'm gonna get these all down by the end of this arc, dude. Pythagoras, Edison, and Shaka. Like that's all like the logical side of it, and then the human side of it is wrath, is eating, and all of those things.
And
then
Atlas, York, and
evil thoughts.
Lilith.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think there's the human side, and then there's the more like
So
sciencey
left and
squad.
right. You think it's more of a left and
Yeah,
right thing?
and that's why they look more mechanical looking, and the other ones are human.
I can see that.
Mm.
Well, and also with the logic one, and being the leader, it does look like Shaka is kind of the mix.
Yes, he might have a little bit of both because he also connects with
Has
the
a very
outside world.
He has a very humanoid body, but you also get a digital vibe from
Okay,
him as well.
random question. Do you guys think any of these dudes can fight, or are they purely like science?
I think Atlas can. Atlas is the violent one. Yeah, so
I think Lilith and Atlas can both fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Lilith called on all those. Here's the thing. We've seen really powerful scientists throughout the entire series. Look at Queen. Look at Judge, right? Look at Caesar. All of them have ways of fighting. So maybe they're not like monsters like Luffy in that sense, but they have ways to outsmart and win strategically.
Yes.
Outside of Wrath, who might just be like...
Yeah, Wrath is kind of the Weevil of the group.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm of the impression that they'll, and just knowing One Piece characters, named characters, because it seems to be a thing that most named characters can fight to an extent.
Sure.
I'm willing to bet they all have special abilities of a type that matches who they are, that they can fight using. But I think I agree, like what you said, that they're probably not like all up to like physically that level, because like I think we can tell with the fact that Shaka warned Lilith away from fighting them, because like, you know, Zoro's ready to kill you with one strike. I think that goes to show that they're not. They themselves probably aren't to the level of the Straw Hats. It's what
Individually, maybe not.
individually maybe, but also I'd say probably it's what's on the island that they can use to defend themselves. Really.
Well, and any pirate coming to this island, right, has to deal with those mechanized sea beasts, right? Like, so they wouldn't even get there.
The Six Faces of the forms of Vegapunk have something similar to like the what is it?
Six Paths of Pain?
No,
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
the Straw Hat robot thing where they all
Oh.
combine.
Oh! Wouldn't it be so funny if they all got together and did one of those and that was actually how they fought?
Oh my gosh.
Like that would be that.
Robin would die inside.
She'd
if
be
that
like,
happened.
I have to leave this island. I need to commit so many seppukus. All the fucking hands. Oh man, dude! If Shaka doesn't have a really sick way of fighting, I'm gonna feel. I am ready to cosplay this guy tomorrow. Shaka looks so cool. Do you see the caution on his fucking sleeve, dude? Oh, the drip.
Honestly, Shaka's look is giving me a little bit of Law vibes.
A little bit. Dude, it's Law. Oh,
It's like, that was just my after image fighting Blackbeard.
why do you guys think there's a reason he's hiding his face? Could it be like there could be some like grand reveal there? Or do you think he's just like a normal looking? Because like if there are the Seraphims, right? And I'm not saying Shaka's old or like he could be new, right? What if he is someone we recognize because that kind of clone was the kind of leader this place needs?
Could it be the person with the fire scar?
Like so.
Remember it way back?
From when Kid was talking about,
Yeah.
you guys don't even know the guy with the fire scar.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. That's the thing when you put a mask on someone. Now it's like, ideas are going to run rampant.
Because
of
we
who
still
this
need to
person
figure out
could be.
who that
no
person
clue who
is.
Kid was talking about. No idea. Like, people thought Sabo, but that doesn't make sense because Luffy, of course, knows Sabo. And maybe it's Aokiji because thought, Magma guy, but he's with Blackbeard. What? It's like, how do you know him? Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, all
We
we
don't
know is
But
that...
I doubt Kids met Vegapunk. You think? Because he was like, you guys don't know this guy.
Yeah, but
or who it is.
Mhm.
Maybe he hasn't met Vegapunk, but he knows that Vegapunk's the person.
Yeah, that's
Who's
my
kid's dad? Do we know?
There's a lot of theories out there that it's Shanks, but I doubt that.
I mean, I could see it, and
Dad, you're such a loser with only one arm. My arm! Well, you shouldn't have made fun of me. No, like, he's from an island in the South Blue. Oda just released, like, a whole, like, SBS about,
Are we
like,
talking
the Kid
Shanks or
Pirates.
Kid?
Because Oda released an SBS, I want to say a week ago, where he talked about, like, some things. And he basically gave all of the Kid Pirates, right? Kid Pirates?
Yeah, Notorious Pirate from the South Blue.
Yeah, South Blue, and he had
And
a
they
whole
are
thing.
just the Kid Pirates.
Yeah, and so he gave their whole like backstory like in 2 paragraphs. It was kind of interesting, but it didn't scream Shanks to me because Shanks is originally from the East Blue, right?
Hold on.
I think. But anyway, that's been a thought because red hair and there's the whole Naruto joke of like, oh, if you have red hair, you're an
yes,
Umazaki.
maybe
Uzumaki.
Uzumaki.
operating in East Blue.
Yeah, but so maybe it's left vague for a reason. But like we don't see red hair a lot in like this series or other ones. So
Really don't.
like the connections, right, that you draw there are, oh, it could be this thing. Yeah. And it would be funny if like there's Uta.
I kind of figured.
Yeah, I'm not going to go any more into Shanks because technically we can't talk about that until...
Yeah, because some people are assholes and watch the movie without us.
Tough times. Really interesting chapter though. I kind of want to dive into the lore a bit, but is there too
Yes.
much to say?
There's way too much that we could theorize about that. I personally don't feel
Yeah.
like we have time to
That
go
armor.
about all that.
Does that armor give you like OARS Junior vibes?
Yes.
Or OARS
Yeah,
vibes?
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this could be almost a callback to Thriller Bark potentially, because
Potentially.
that dude's from the past too.
Yeah?
Right? OARS was from the Void Century? Question mark? I think OARS was. I think that was like Moria's big thing. Like,
Whoa. No. Go away,
This
Cat
guy-
Walker. I'm not giving you money.
this guy was an island puller back in the Void Century or something. But like that would make sense if this was like his armor or what maybe they fought against.
Let's see.
Interesting.
Who was born 500 years prior to the current storyline.
Oh, so not Void Century. Okay.
He was 159 when he died, by the way.
But that definitely looks like Oars.
Yes.
I mean, yes, yeah.
So maybe Oars' ancestor?
That's the thing too,
Possibly.
right? If like the land polar giants or like
Continent polar.
continent polar giants, right? If those were like the race back in the day, yeah, this could make a lot of sense.
Or the continent polar was his full epitaph.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so cool. Okay, do you guys want to talk about anything else 1065 related? There's so much to cover.
Oh, I know.
The Six Faces of Punk, the blood.
I'm honestly good.
Seraphims.
Most anything I have to do will just probably be a prediction video.
Thought it was funny that Frankie embraced his inner Sanji.
I loved him
Vega-chan.
calling him Vega-chan.
That was so fun.
That was great.
That was cool. Also, a very tiny thing I want to note: if you look at Seraphim Jinbei's eyes, the star eyes are there again, which is something.
Eternal Mangekyo.
And the only reason I bring that up is because of the very small panel that we saw when the Amazon Lily was being attacked. Yes, the little boa had them, but not the little
Are you sure about that?
Mihawk. Yes, because I remember specifically the rings and not a star.
Mm-hmm.
So that might just be Oda like drawing a certain way, and maybe it'll be revealed later in the middle there are stars. But from what I saw, the rings, which means that Mihawk's eyes might be something special and not something that they can replace with the normal starry eyes that these guys have. It was also nice to see Sanji going kind of crazy on Jinbei. That was kind of fun. That was just a good kick. Wow, that's good. And I think the Snapdragon Spank, I think that's the one.
So, I think the way that they're drawn kind of leaves it ambiguous just because he couldn't get close enough.
Yeah.
I think
it's
in the
ambiguous at
center
best.
of those, it is stars.
But also might not.
It kind of gives me, so if you've seen Rick and Morty, like the way that the pupils are, the way that panel of the baby Mihawk from the Captain Kobe incident chapter, I could see that if Oda maybe had zoomed in a little bit more, the stars would have also been there.
It's interesting, though, but he could have in that panel, right? And he didn't. So leaving it ambiguous is interesting. Oda likes to do that, though. Also, last thing I want to ask about, is there a reason that we aren't being introduced to the Stella body along with the rest of them this chapter? Like, why are we
The
hiding
Stella
that?
body's not there.
Right, but why hide it for so long if it is just a brand new, silly character?
Why would you leave yourself out?
No. I mean, to
pirates
us,
are around.
audience-wise. No. Like, why haven't we been revealed who the Stella body is?
It's a big freaking reveal.
It is, but if it's a new character, is it that big of a
There are
reveal?
just sometimes
it's still going to be a big reveal.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge reveal, and I think that's one of those ones where Oda doesn't want to show it to us until either the characters we're currently following meet this person, or until it is, like, absolutely as relevant to the plot as possible.
I think
Unless it's somebody we met just in passing way back. In passing.
that's my thought. But that's just my whole thought, right? Is if you're going to leave a character, this ambiguous this entire time, how crazy of a meeting would it be if that character was someone that you'd previously known? Take the reveal at Water 7 with all of our CP9s. You're like, oh, right?
Yeah.
It could potentially be a very similar moment. And I'm thinking the same of Shaka, which might be a lesser version of the true Stella body. But I think that's enough for 1065.
I imagine.
Unless...
You're gonna hate me, but I imagine it's gonna go to black and you're like, oi, oi, oi.
Thank you for joining us for 1065. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to answer some questions, and no better place to do that than the comment book section. We'll see you guys in the high seas for our prediction videos coming out soon. Till then,
Bye.
Fox.
fuck you!